Hi, it's Tom from Lone Horizons, and welcome to a different kind of video to usual. We're back with Scarlet Heroes for a change, and I'm going to add this video to the end of the Scarlet Heroes How to Play series, the tutorial series that I made, because I think it might be useful. We're going to examine a different way of playing Scarlet Heroes solo to the examples that we covered in the original video series. And as you'll notice, I don't have my dice box and dice tray out because we're not actually going to be playing a solo RPG in this video, believe it or not. This is a campaign report showing you how I already played Scarlet Heroes, specifically how I used it to play an existing pre-made module adventure called Tales from the Skieg River. I think that's pronounced Skieg, I would guess. This is actually a trilogy of 3 short adventures by Roberto Marcarini. I hope I said that right. Seems like a lot of Italians worked on this. Old School Fox. I'll put a link in the video description. It was really cheap. I think I saw him post it on Reddit, on like the OSR Reddit or the RPG Reddit sub or something. I don't know. And it's really interesting and fun. And the way he's done it as well is it's system agnostic. It says it's a small collection of 3 system agnostic 1-page dungeons, each set in the frontier lands along the banks of the Skieg River. So there's no monster stats in it. You have threat levels for monsters, which are like the weakest ones are 1 skull, and then there's 2 skulls and so on. And this actually fits really well with Scarlet Heroes, the rules in Scarlet Heroes. So basically, as we covered in our How to Play series, Scarlet Heroes can be used as a kind of rules overlay on any other game or module, in order to play it solo as one character specifically, which is pretty different to playing like old school D&D with a party of 6 or whatever. So we covered that in those videos. So if you haven't seen them, I recommend watching them because it's got quite a lot of good feedback from people in the comments, that video series. So I am kind of halfway through Tales from the Skieg River. I have finished the first 2 adventures, Raiders of the Black River and the Tomb of the Broken Emperor, and I haven't started Hunt the Abomination yet, which is like a little mini hex crawl, which looks really nice. What I am in the middle of doing is doing a little side adventure which I've generated with Scarlet Heroes and like the dungeon adventures rules for that, just to get a bit more experience. This is my notebook that I was using. This what I normally do is I normally type gameplay up directly onto my blog, which is lonehorizons.blogspot.com. There'll be a link in the description for that as well. But I felt like playing at the kitchen table just using analog tools, so I wrote everything up in here, and I try and keep notes as minimal as possible, but I just always end up like being really verbose because I enjoy it, and I suppose that's part of the fun. So before we kind of go into it, I'll show you my adventurer. That is the dungeon time tracker from Old School Essentials that I'm using when in dungeons. Oh yeah, I've done that. That's fine. It'll be thrown away. So I prepared this character sheet for the purposes of this video. I wasn't actually using this one when I was playing. I was using this one, which is probably going to be unreadable for on the screen in this. So I went back and I recreated him as a level 1 character, how he started off, so that I could just go over him with you. His name's Beramid Hilt. He is a cleric. He's human, level 1, no XP. And his stats, he got some quite good stats that were rolled randomly using the Scarlet Heroes rules, but then shifted around, and put where I wanted them. So strength 14, dexterity 6, constitution 14, intelligence 10, wisdom 17, charisma 14. And wisdom is good for clerics in this. So is charisma, and so is strength for fighting. Let's see, maximum hit points 7, because all clerics get 6 hit points to start off with, and it's modified by their constitution modifier. His armor class is 7 because he starts off with leather armor that he bought and a shield, but he does have a -1 penalty to his armor class from his dex mod. And then his attack bonus, everyone starts with +1 apart from magic users in Scarlet Heroes. His fray die is 1d6. That is covered in the rules video that I've done already. Let's see, he uses a mace, and it's his attack bonus with that is +2 because he gets his strength bonus with it. His damage is only 1d6 +1. That's the +1 strength bonus. And everyone apart from fighters in Scarlet Heroes are limited with the amount of damage they can do with all weapons. Like, no matter what weapon he uses, he can only do a maximum of 1d6 damage. Okay, and he has the first level spell Light. I don't tend to use the spells from the Scarlet Heroes rulebook. I find them a bit kind of I don't know what the word I want to say obscure. Like the use cases for them is a bit like I can't imagine using a lot of them in a solo game, in the kind of solo game that I play. So I just went to Old School Essentials and I got the spell Light from here, because if the spells are in the referee's tome, are they in the referee's tome or the player's tome? I don't know, it doesn't matter. Because I really like these spells, all of them. And I just mention again, I was able to buy Old School Essentials with income from the YouTube channel. So if you're a subscriber, thank you very much. Thanks for liking the videos and leaving your comments and things. If you're not a subscriber, it would be great if you can subscribe, if you like this video as well. So yeah, we've got Light. And then traits and abilities. He has 2 points in Military Chaplain. He was generated using the character generator in the book. So Military Chaplain is a background trait that he got, which I rolled randomly. I put 2 points into that because he has like a military background. He used to be in an army of some kind. Light Sleeper, 1. And I can't remember if that was generated or maybe I made that up myself. And Knows Many Thieves, which was generated from the book. That's 1 point in that. So again, you can add those points, like the correct ones anyway, appropriate ones, to skill checks and things and saving throws. So yeah, and then this is his current character sheet, which I won't go over because that's when he's level 2. One other thing before we get into it, we're 10 minutes into the video already, we haven't started the adventure, but one other thing is, when I started this, I decided to use the XP and advancement rules from Old School Essentials just as a kind of experiment, because I like crunchy XP. I like in like Dungeons and Dragons how you get thousands and thousands of XP and gold for XP and stuff like that. And I wanted to try using it here, but this series of adventures, my only criticism of it is there isn't much treasure in it. So if you are playing it with Old School Essentials, say, you're not gonna level up that much. And he did go for quite a long time without leveling up, and then I just decided to switch over to the Scarlet Heroes rules, which I'll show you actually. Character advancement, where is it? Yeah, advancement. On Scarlet Heroes, you just get 1 XP per session that you play. So to reach level 2, you just need to play 2 sessions. And so after a few sessions, I just awarded him some XP using the Scarlet Heroes system, which is 5 he's on now. Oh no, that's XP for next level. So he's on 3 XP, okay? So just wanted to mention that. in case we come across any notes mentioning XP and stuff like that, and it doesn't make sense. So anyway, yeah, let's get on with the campaign report after that extremely long and rambling introduction. Basically, there's not much like that you need to do. There is a section in the rulebook that tells you how to kind of how to play a published adventure, an existing adventure with Scarlet Heroes, but really there's not that it's not that much. Basically, you can't avoid knowing things that your character doesn't, right? That's sort of unfortunate. You can sort of read the descriptions of rooms as you get to them, which is what I did when I played through Raiders of the Black River, because it's just one dungeon. It's like a village and then a dungeon. So you can do that, and that keeps some mystery to it, and that really helps as well. But you do have to know some things, like, for example, in this adventure, a cult is going to sacrifice someone, and after each encounter you have in the dungeon, you roll a d4, add the number of rooms explored, and if you get to 6 or more, they do the ritual of sacrifice. Like, it starts, and that person is in trouble, as we will find out. So you have to be aware of some things that your character wouldn't know. But I did find it really fun. So let's see. Beramid Hilt, level 1 cleric of the god Riramet. That was a randomly generated name I think I used Mythic Game Master Emulator for. God of Honor and Duty. Adventure 1, Raiders of the Black River. Former army chaplain Beramid Hilt has followed the Skieg River. That's supposed to be the Skieg River. To the village of Riverside. There he learns the locals have been attacked and some kidnapped by the cultists of the Black River. So I divided the journal up into days of the campaign, and this will just go on for as long as I play as Beramid for, or maybe for the whole trilogy of adventures. So campaign day 1, Beramid visits the Blackbird Inn and meets Selgas, an elf adventurer too afraid to take on the cult, even with Beramid. He says the cult kidnapped the burgomaster's daughter and took her to the old temple of the Black River, which is a few hours' walk through some woods to the south. So you can see here, I've got the village of Riverside here, and there's the Blackbird Inn, and it says Selgas, an elf adventurer, can be hired for 50 coins. Asking around provides information about the cultists and the location of the Temple of the Black River. I can't remember how much gold I started with, but it wasn't 50, so I couldn't hire him. Next, Beramid goes to the burgomaster's house. The man, Howlett, tells him of his teenage daughter Anna and how she was kidnapped the previous day. He offers 100 gold pieces for her safe return. Howlett also tells Beramid that some woodcutters captured a cultist in the raid and are interrogating him in the nearby carpenter's workshop. So, again, I was just going around the village, reading these entries as I got to them. Carpenter's workshop. A group of 4 woodcutters has captured a wounded cultist. He can reveal the location of the secondary entrance to the Temple of the Black River. Beramid pays a visit to the workshop, where the 4 men are standing around arguing about what to do with the bruised and bloodied man tied to a chair. So in this situation, I think any GM would, if a player wanted to get information out of this captured enemy, any GM would make them do some kind of skill check, right? Some kind of roll for it. So what does it say? It just says he can reveal the location of the secondary entrance to the temple. That's all it says. So I went with making a charisma check. I set the difficulty class as 10 because in Scarlet Heroes, when you're doing like a randomly generated adventure, say it's a dungeon adventure, you set the difficulty class as 9 plus the threat level of the dungeon. And as we're like right at the start of a level 1 adventure, I decided that I should add 1 to the starting number of 9 for this difficulty check. So I rolled 9 and I added my 2 points from my military chaplain trait because I thought he will have witnessed interrogations, maybe kind of provided healing for prisoners of war, things like that, and maybe seen them being interrogated in army camps and things. So he put his knowledge for that, plus my charisma bonus of +1, giving me 12, which beats 10, and that's a success. So I like to sort of role play by myself what that looks like. So Beramid speaks about honor and doing the right thing, reading the man a fable from his god's holy book. He reluctantly tells Beramid about a hidden door at the back of the temple that can be reached via the river. So the secondary entrance to the temple, here's the temple map. You've got the woods there, and then you've got the river. And, I had to kind of skim through the map to find the secondary entrance. It says secondary entrance leads from the Skieg River. 2 cultists always stand guard on the deck of the riverboat. Oh, on the deck of the riverboat. That's interesting. I think when I encountered them in the adventure, I had them outside the doorway. But anyway, doesn't matter. So Beramid walks past the local shop to the river dock. See, I'm not spending time when I play this. I'm not spending time like standing around chatting with the 4 woodcutters and asking them the names and stuff like that. You might do that in a group game, but when you're playing solo, sometimes you want to just sort of get through the adventure, not too fast and miss stuff, but just kind of go at your own pace. So you could end up, in this going on a side quest for one of the woodcutters, doing some errand for him or something to get money if you wanted to kind of roll on the oracles in Scarlet Heroes, you could do that. So he walks past the local shop to the river dock. A fisherman is there. Can Beramid persuade him to take him to the temple? Another charisma check. I rolled a 12 and added my plus 1 charisma modifier. I didn't think any of his traits would be useful here, so I didn't add anything for that. But that's 13 versus another 10 difficulty class. Success. The young fisherman bravely agrees to take him to the temple, so they set off immediately. They're going downriver. They're spending some time traveling. I thought, let's do a random encounter check, which is a 1 in 6 as standard in the rules. I'm not using any kind of like hex crawling rules from Scarlet Heroes here because it's literally just a bit further down the river than the village. So I got no encounter there. After an hour of sailing downstream, they reach the small dock and the foreboding, dilapidated temple made from black stone. As the fisherman is mooring the boat, 2 cultists emerge from the back door. See, they're not on the... that is a boat that is moored there already. See, I completely missed that. It doesn't matter, I just got a slightly different adventure to what's written. Emerge from the back door and rush towards the boat. Beramid leaps onto the dock and attacks. So, I've listed the stats for the cultists. Now, as you can see, we know there's 2 of them, and we know they have 1 skull threat level in the adventures stats. And so if you go to the dungeon terrain, what am I thinking of? The dungeon adventures chapter, I think. You have... the Urban Adventures has it as well. You've got foe statistics. So where you have an enemy in Scarlet Heroes where you don't know specific stats for them because they're not listed in the rulebook, you've got these different types of foes like vermin, rabble, thug, soldier, veteran, and you've got all their stats here. So I decided vermin is probably literally vermin, like small animals, right? Small monsters maybe, and rabble is probably what the cultists would be, because thug sounds tougher, doesn't it, than just a sort of standard person. It sounds like someone who's more of a bruiser or something. So I've put down here they've got 1 hit die, attack bonus is +0. That's funny. This says rabble. It to hit is +1. I don't know. I can't remember my exact thought process when I was going through this, but I think because there are a lot of them in the adventure, maybe I lowered their attack bonus to 0 because of that. Their morale is 7. They move 20 feet per turn. Their armor class is 9, which is pretty much unarmored, like they're just wearing sort of cultists' robes. And they do 1d4 damage with a dagger, and they get +0 to any skill checks. See, that says +1 to skill checks, and I've got, they're basically halfway between vermin and rabble, I think. So anyway, that's how I worked out the stats for those enemies. Okay, so Berrimid leaps onto the dock and attacks. He gets a critical, which is my house rule. Criticals aren't in Scarlet Heroes, and I house rule that when you roll a natural 20, you get to roll an extra fray die in combat. And he smashes both their skulls with his mace. You'll notice I didn't bother writing out the attack details, like all the die rolls, because I don't care about that. In some games, like Mithras, when I'm writing it up on my blog and the combat is really, really crunchy and it's all about tactics and stuff, I quite enjoy recording all of those die rolls and stuff in combat. But with Scarlet Heroes, the good thing about combat in it is it's fast and furious. Like you will often... there's no point putting miniatures and a battle map out on your desktop, because in the time that you take to put them out, you could have had the fight and killed the enemies anyway. All right, so he's killed them. I make a morale check to see if the fisherman has fled in terror, and the morale check is 7 against 7. I set his morale at 7, like the rabble stats, basically. The fisherman is trembling but determined to help rescue Anna. Berrimid gives him 5 gold pieces to wait for him until he returns with the girl. Then he goes through the door. And I didn't do any kind of charisma check for that. I think 5 gold pieces is enough. I can't remember, maybe I did another morale check to make sure he has stayed when Berrimid comes back later. I can't remember, we'll find out. While exploring the temple, after each encounter, I have to roll a d4 and add the number of rooms explored. On a 6, the ritual begins in the sanctuary room. So I just made a note of that so that if I ever go back to this and read it, I'll know what I was doing. And then I like to use the dungeon time tracker from Old School Essentials when I'm in a dungeon. So the rules. If you've ever played a game like this, it uses dungeon turns, and you get wandering monster checks and things like that. So, turn 1, Berrimid steps in through the door and finds himself in a storeroom of some kind. Searching the shelves and crates, he finds some spears, crossbows and bolts, 10 torches, 2 50-foot ropes and a lantern. That's great, yeah, it was a lot of stuff he found. Does the lantern have oil in it? Now this is where I rolled a D6 oracle that I made up on the spot. There are oracle rules in Scarlet Heroes using a D20 and stuff, but I don't know, I just find a D6 is perfect for the amount of probability that the chances that you get for certain things. So I set the probability at unlikely as the answer to that question. So that meant I decided that if I rolled a 1 to 4 on a D6, it would be no, and a 5 to 6, it would be yes. I got a 4, so no, the lantern didn't have oil in it. Berrimid takes a crossbow and 30 bolts, but doesn't have room to sling it over his shoulder, so he stuffs it into his backpack instead. This is because of the encumbrance rules that I'm using from... this is getting complicated now. From Carrion Crawler, the zine for Old School Essentials that comes out every now and then. If you've watched the Dungeon Crawl Classics solo series that I'm doing, you will know it from that. But basically, yeah, it's just a different alternative encumbrance system, which just makes it use less maths, which is nice. So, he stuffs the crossbow in his backpack. He also takes the 2 ropes and the lantern. So that was turn 1, searching that room. Turn 2, he does a wandering monster check in here, no encounter. Berrimid can go north. Oh, yeah, so let's see where he is on the map. We've come in here, and 5 is the storage room here. Let me get a die, and I'll put it down on the map. So Berrimid can go north down a flight of stone steps to that room there, or east through double doors. And yeah, this is interesting. I decided to just roll a die to see which one Beramid would choose, because I think at this point I had sort of read about what's in a few of the rooms and things. So I just gave him a 50% chance of either. He chooses to go through the double doors, eager to find these cultists and smite them. He kicks the doors open to reveal a large... I don't know why. I just thought smashing the cultists, that's what he does, because he's got a mace. He already smashed the skulls of 2 of them. He's literally going to smash their heads in, because he hates cultists, being a very loyal cleric to his god. So yeah, he kicks the doors open. He's not a thief. I like to role play like and act like what I imagine this cleric would. Imagine he's basically basically Brian Blessed or John Rhys Davis kicking a set of double doors open in a film and bellowing into the room. Sorry, I'm making myself laugh. This is ridiculous. I shouldn't be doing this. I'm supposed to be just going through the campaign journal. You're probably not even finding any of that funny anyway. Okay. This has never happened to me before in a YouTube video. Corpsing. Okay, right. Where were we? He's kicking the doors. I'm thinking of Flash Gordon now. All right. Right, forget all that. Every time I say he kicks the doors open, I just imagine Brian Blessed doing it. All right, I'm sorry. This is extremely unprofessional behaviour by a YouTuber, and normal service will resume as soon as possible. Okay, he reveals a large... I think it was the word bellowing that set it off. It's not a word I would normally use, and it's just so funny when you think. In this room there are 3 pillars in the corners. A large statue of a huge snake rears up above an altar. 7 cultists in green robes are here. One is sleeping on a cot. He jerks awake at the sound of the doors flying open and obviously the bellowing. I imagine he shouted something like, In the name of Ririmet, I cleanse you. I cleanse this place of evil. One is praying at the altar, and the others are sitting around a table eating and drinking bread, cheese and wine stolen from Riverside. That's just what I imagined them to be doing there. Beramid jumps onto the table and smashes the heads of 4 of them. This is the great combat of Scarlet Heroes. The other one draws a dagger and cuts his leg before his head is crushed too. Cuts Beramid's leg before the cultist's head is crushed too, if that wasn't clear. Next, Beramid charges the one at the altar and kills him with a mighty blow to the ribs, while the one in bed jumps up and scurries out of a door in the north wall. So that one obviously failed his morale check when he saw that all the others had been killed in one round of combat. So, yeah, Beramid got cut and lost 1 hit point from that dagger slash to his leg. In Scarlet Heroes, you can heal up to 2 hit points that you lost during the last fight by bandaging yourself. So Beramid bandages his leg, heals 1 hit point, and searches the bodies. Since they've probably given all their possessions to the cult, as you do when you join a cult, and your money as well, I decide cultists will only have treasure on a roll of 1 in 6. And the trove type will be Scruffy Bandit's Purse, which is one of the treasure trove types in Scarlet Heroes. 1 cultist has a gold piece in his pocket, but the rest carry nothing but cheap daggers. Okay, the ritual check. Because I had an encounter, I rolled a d4 and added 2, because I had explored 2 rooms, and that gave me 4, so not 6 yet. Alright, turn 3. There are 3 doors in this chamber. So 1, 2, 3. And there's also the option to backtrack. So I rolled a d4 to choose which one he would go through or if he would backtrack, and I got a 3. So Beramid throws open the east door, that was this door, and sees a long corridor that opens into a large room with 4 pillars in the corners. 50 feet away, over here, 3 men in green robes are playing cards at a table in front of what could be the main entrance doors. They jump up and grab crossbows from the table. Right, we got another crazy fight. Beramid runs down the corridor, waving his mace at them. The men loose their bolts as he barrels down the corridor, and one hits him in the stomach, piercing his leather armour. The other two bounce off his metal shield. Roaring in pain, perhaps bellowing in pain, Beramid kills all three when he reaches them, batting their crossbows out of the way easily. Wincing from the pain, Beramid sits down at the table and bandages his wound after ripping the bolt out. +2 hit points brings him to 5 of 7. So that was quite a bad wound he got there. He gulps down from wine from a bottle and snatches 2 gold pieces from the table. Someone's winnings, no doubt. Another ritual check. We got 4, so no ritual yet. Turn 4, no wandering monster. Sitting at the table, Beramid ponders something the captured cultist said back in the workshop. They were living in the woods robbing travellers, but then they found the temple, and one of them, Jeff, was spoken to by the River Lord and granted great magical power. They needed the girl to bring forth the River Lord into the world. Whatever this River Lord is, Beramid thinks, he's sure to have a skull I can smash. So that was just another little bit of solo role-playing done in the downtime while bandaging and drinking. Looking out of the eastern double doors reveals the woods outside. There, it's the main entrance. 2 robed men stand with their backs to him, oblivious to what just went down at the guard post. Beramid cracks their heads with his mace, then rifles through their robes, finding a single gold coin. Another ritual check gave us 4 again, so no 6. And turn 5. Beramid goes back to... Oh yeah, so he was in there. He goes back to the large common room with the snake statue, eyeing it warily. He can take doors to the north, south, or go back to the storeroom and try the stairs there. So I rolled a d3 for that. Opening the door to the south, he finds a pantry full of supplies stolen from Riverside. There are dried rations good for 17 days' worth of food here, but he decides to leave them and tell the burgomaster about this on his return to Riverside. So then we've got turn 6, which is a rest turn, according to the Old School Essentials dungeon time tracker, where he has to rest and do nothing. The fighting and his wound have tired Beramid out a bit, so he lies down on the cot in the common room to recover a minute. Wandering Monster check, none. Okay. So then turn 7. So he's there in the common room. He can now backtrack to the storeroom or go north. So I rolled a d2. I guess I didn't roll. I don't have a d2. That would be a coin, right? I must have rolled a d6. Beramid presses on through the north door. Okay, so he goes up there. This leads to a corridor going north with 4 small rooms along it. Each contains a bed, a water jug, and a chamber pot. The wily cultists have stashed away 16 gold pieces between them, which Beramid takes. Let's see. That's area 9. What does it say about that here? Cultists' chambers. Each room contains robes, hallucinogenic incense, and 1d10 coins. Ah, that's interesting. I think, I don't know why I didn't mention the incense, but I did roll for the coins. That's interesting. Maybe I just forgot about the incense or something. Maybe I even did a search to see if he found it or something like that. I don't know. So, he can go north up some stone stairs or east through a door. Turn 8, Wandering Monster check. We got an encounter. And let's see, 1d4 cultists. I can't remember if I made a little table. I think I made an encounter table, but I don't have it still. I don't know what happened to it. Or maybe I just decided that the encounters would always be cultists in here. So while he's deciding which way to go, Beramid hears footsteps coming down the stairs, these stairs over here. He hides in the doorway of one of the bedrooms, then jumps out and confronts a pair of cultists. He gets a crit, again, and easily kills the startled men. Searching them, he finds 3 gold pieces, and then notices one wears an ornamental electrum chain around his waist, outside his robe. It's studded with blue spinal gemstones, and looks like it could be worth about 600 gold pieces. So that was a roll on, I think, the Scruffy Bandit's purse treasure hoard, and I got lucky. So that was a really nice bit of treasure. Ritual check. We got a 6. The ritual begins. Unbeknownst to Beramid, the High Priest is now beginning the terrible ritual that will result in Anna's death and the summoning of the River Lord, whoever he is. The adventure says it will take 3 rounds if not interrupted. I'll give Beramid a chance here. Okay, perhaps the man with the Electrum chain was a higher-ranking cult member, and there could be more where he came from, maybe guarding Anna. Beramid rushes up the stairs, so he goes in here. He arrives in a large room with a huge pool of black-looking water in the centre, flanked by big statues of strange otherworldly aquatic monsters. 4 cultists are looking up at an altar on a high platform with 2 sets of stone steps leading up to it, up there, atop which a young woman lies, seemingly unconscious. A man in a hooded green robe, presumably High Priest Jeff. I really don't know why I called him Jeff. I think because he was just a normal bandit living in the woods. He wasn't anyone special. Stands over her, a wavy crysknife in his hands. He chants in some foul, gurgling tongue. So here's High Priest Jeff. He has sorcerer stats from the rulebook. 2 hit dice, attack bonus +2. Morale is 9, move is 30 feet, armor class is 8, damage is 1d4, his crysknife. Skill is +2, and he has 2 spells, cause light wounds and protection from good. So the High Priest here, it says he has 2 skulls of threat level. And it doesn't, does it tell you anything about him? Let's see. This is location 12. The High Priest is performing the ritual assisted by 2d4 cultists. If not interrupted, the ritual is completed in 3 rounds. Okay, yeah, so it doesn't give any info about what spells that he has or anything like that. So I think I rolled randomly for his spells from the Old School Essentials book again. Jeff will stab Anna on the 3rd combat round unless he is stopped. So yeah, we're giving him 3 rounds. Because Beramid was literally right outside the room just now. So Beramid makes short work of the cultists, then charges up the stairs and swings at Jeff, who is still chanting. But he fumbles, he rolls a 1. Beramid trips as he swings his mace and is sent sprawling on the floor. He scrambles to get up as fast as he can, but he hears an ear-piercing scream as Jeff plunges his crysknife into Anna's heart. So, yeah, as you can see, sometimes this happens in an RPG, as I'm sure you know from solo or group RPGs. For a few moments there is silence in the temple. Then suddenly a huge splash of water happens in the black pool and something massive emerges. Jeff drops to his knees, then presses his head to the floor. Beramid is incredulous, transfixed as he watches a gigantic green serpent rise up out of the water. Spragish, spragish, it shouts in a deep booming voice. Beramid snaps out of his stunned silence and shouts louder than the monster, calling on Riramet to dazzle the evil beast with his holy light. So he casts light on its eyes, which you can do in Old School Essentials. So here is the River Lord. So for the River Lord, what I did, he's a giant serpent. There he is, the River Lord. It says, what does it say about him in here? It says, then from the black water pool, the River Lord emerges, a giant river serpent. Okay, that's all it tells you, a giant river serpent, and his threat level should be 4 skulls. So what I did was I looked through the bestiary in Scarlet Heroes, and there is a giant serpent monster in here. So let's see. Did I edit this? Let's see. So this says huge serpents of the jungle. Some are poisonous, with each bite forcing a saving throw to avoid swift death. Others are constrictors, with a saving throw necessary to avoid being caught in its coils on a successful hit. Coiled enemies can use no weapon larger than a dagger and are automatically hit every round until they succeed on a saving throw to escape the beast. So let's see. What is their hit dice? 5. Yeah, I gave him 5 hit dice. I don't know why. I should have really given him 4 because his threat level is 4. I don't know why I did that. And as you'll see, it may not have been the best idea. His damage, I put 1d8 plus poison, as here. Skill bonus +2. Yeah, so everything is as it is here in the rulebook. So, so he casts light on its eyes to blind it, which is one of the best things in old school essentials or any old school RPG, really. Casting light on an enemy's eyes, it's really fun. The Riverlord makes a saving throw. So I gave him a difficulty class of 10 for this, the Riverlord, because it's 9 plus Beramid's level. That's fair, right? So he rolls a 9 and he adds his +2 skill bonus, getting 11, which is a success. At first, the snake looks like it's hesitating, startled by the holy power and light that comes from Beramid's outstretched hands. But then it laughs in a hideous voice and leaps out of the pool at him. It bites him deeply in the arm, injecting its lethal poison into his veins. Beramid makes a saving throw of DC 14. So that, why is it 14? It's 9 plus his hit dice. I thought 4 wasn't enough of a threat for the Riverlord, and I bumped him up one hit die because of that. So anyway, yeah, that was DC 14. Beramid rolled an 8, and he adds +1 for his level and +1 for his constitution bonus, which gives him 10 failure, because you don't get to use your traits. Oh no, I think you do get to use your traits. Let's just double check that. We'll have a refresher of the rules of Scarlet Heroes. Saving throws 17. Because whenever I get something wrong in one of these videos, someone corrects me in the comments, which is fine, but I want to just preempt that. So, no relevant traits. Okay. Yeah, look, a giant cobra bites a hero, injecting poison. Yeah. He adds his modifier in his level, and he has no relevant traits. So you do add your a trait to it if you have one. Right. So he fails against the poison, meaning he's going to die. So Beramid defies death and succeeds, which is good. That's the defy death rule from that. I don't want this video to go on too long, so I am going to keep going. So basically, that is a way of cheating death in Scarlet Heroes, and he succeeds in that, so he doesn't die here. Beramid roars in pain, but somehow clings to his life, perhaps with Riramet's help. Meanwhile, Jeff is approaching him, his left hand glowing green with an unholy light. Jeff's hand darts out past Beramid's shield and touches his chest, which causes searing hot pain to course through his body. Jeff casts cause-like wounds on him. Beramid looks from the Riverlord to the High Priest and feels completely calm. "Bow to me," a deep voice says inside his head. "Bow to me and live." "Never," he says quietly, then springs forward at the Riverlord, delivering nothing but a glancing blow to its flank. The Riverlord coils around Beramid, squeezing all the air out of his lungs, and he falls unconscious. Beramid is reduced to 0 hit points. So at this point, he was going to die, and as per the rules in Scarlet Heroes, when you reach 0 hit points, you can just choose to continue the adventure, even combined with defy death, because it's the Scarlet Heroes of the game are supposed to be kind of better than average people. It's almost like playing as a superhero in an RPG setting, really. So I decided that he wasn't going to die here. He was going to survive, and we were going to have a major setback in the adventure. Now, I've crossed all this bit out. Oh, yeah, that's because of I figured out the XP that he received for that adventure, and that kind of delve into the dungeon because it had ended. But that was using the old school Essentials XP system, which, as I mentioned, we decided not to go with in the end. It is now campaign day 15. Day 15 of the dry season in the Scarlet Heroes world. Why is it campaign day 15? Well, let's find out. Beramid wakes in his cell in the basement of the temple, just like he has for the past 2 weeks. He still has his blood-stained clothes, but they've taken everything else from him, including his holy book, which the High Priest burned in front of him the other day. I never wrote down his holy book in his inventory. Each day, the high priest comes to his cell and tells him of their progress subjugating the people of Riverside, and how much unholy power the River Lord would grant him if he'd agreed to become his envoy and help spread the cult to the surrounding lands. He wonders why they haven't tortured him. Perhaps a scarred and crippled man wouldn't be the best advertisement for their organisation, I wrote. Sorry, just laughing at my own joke here. The miserable ogre jailer Zogrog, who is mentioned here, he is actually in the jail there. This is where Beramid is right now. Zogrog, you see, has 3 threat levels here. Arrives with a bowl of cold gruel and a hard-boiled egg. "When's Jeff coming?" Beramid asks. "You call him the High Priest," the jailer shouts, slamming the bowl and plate down on the floor just outside the bars. "Anyway, he's busy today in the village. They's too slow building the wall or something." Beramid feels the sharpened shiv in his pocket. See, he's been doing stuff in the 2 weeks since we caught up with him. I just decided to do that and skip forward in time a bit, just because it's a fun thing to do. And as you can tell, failing to rescue the girl and releasing the Riverlord doesn't have to be the end of this adventure, right? You can just keep going, as your GM would do if you were playing this kind of game with a group. He picks up the egg, takes a bite out of it and pretends to choke. Beramid makes a charisma check for this. That's DC 13, which is... why is it DC 13? It should be 9 plus... 9 plus 3 is 12. So yeah, I think I keep bumping up the difficulty level a bit. I don't really know why I was doing that. Maybe I kept thinking it was going to be too easy, and then it wasn't, because I rolled a 6. I added 1 for Beramid's level, 1 for his charisma bonus, got 8, doesn't beat 13, so that was a failure. Zogrog hits him with a club. I took 1 hit point off him for that, shouting, "I've seen that trick 100 times. Next time I'll smash your head." He leaves the room. So yeah, the classic pretending to be ill to get let out of a jail cell trick didn't work against this ogre. Beramid tries to use the shiv to pick the lock. I'm giving him the chance to do this because of his knows many thieves trait, and as he's in a life or death situation. Beramid makes a dex check, DC 13 again. Should it be that high? Maybe it shouldn't. 8 plus 1 for his level, minus 1 for his dex bonus, or dex penalty, plus 2 for his knows many thieves trait. 10 failure. Okay. He fails again. So then he defies death again, right? Now, when you defy death the first time, it involves rolling a d4 and taking the damage from it. This time, because it's the same adventure, he has to roll the next die up in the dice chain, which is a d6. This time he succeeds at it. Let's see. So defying death doesn't have to mean you're literally about to die from poison or something. It mentions in the rulebook this exact situation, like being captured in a cell that you have no way to get out of would let you you can defy death, and if you succeed, some outside intervention happens to free you, right? So I'm going to rule that Selgus the elf from the Blackbird Inn sneaks in to rescue him. After picking the lock, he tells Beramid that Riverside is in the control of the cultists now, and he should flee down the Skieg River. Selgus has seen a boat moored outside the temple's back entrance, but he intends to escape through the forest, being an elf. Finally, he hands Beramid a dagger. So, yeah, I think we can assume that the fisherman didn't hang around waiting for 2 weeks and watch all the cultists marching out of the temple towards the village. Beramid exits through the back entrance, so he's going out there, and finds 2 cultists guarding it. He draws his dagger and kills one, which spooks the other, who runs inside the temple, so he failed his morale check. So, searching the body, he finds 2 gold pieces. Then, wasting no time, he jumps into the boat and rows it downriver. Beramid has survived the adventure, Raiders of the Black River, and receives 55... Oh yeah, so that was the old XP rules, which we're not using. So that is the end. He escapes the temple. He didn't rescue Anna, the girl. He didn't kill the River Lord, but he did manage to escape with his life. And so I decided that that was a good point to call the end of Raiders of the Black River. So that was quite a long campaign diary entry that I read out to you. That happened over the course of a few sessions, quite a few sort of short sessions that I played over, I think, like several weeks, really, whenever I got a chance. So as you saw, I decided that I wanted to get through these 3 adventures with Bermud, and unless something really terrible happens to him and he fails at defying death, I'm gonna keep him going using the rules of Scarlet Heroes for defying death, which you're allowed to do. I mean, you're allowed to do anything in a solo RPG, but yeah, I am using the maximum survivability rules that I can use for this, because I've played so many solo adventures in games like Old School Essentials where the whole party just gets wiped out by going down to 0 hit points. So yeah, I hope that was interesting. I have already finished the second one, which is called Tomb of the Broken Emperor. You can see that's a tomb adventure, and it's got a nice little side-on map of the tower, the ruined tower that the dungeon entrance is in. So I am going to do another video sometime soon going through that. If you liked this, let me know. Give the video a like and leave a comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. It would be really nice if you're a Scarlet Heroes fan and you want to see more Scarlet Heroes stuff on the channel. You can always subscribe and watch the next one of these videos when it comes out. So until then, I will say have a great day, and I will see you in the next video.